This is a Pyramid One International Network presentation. Hi, and welcome to Pyramid One World Radio. Let me tell you about the hosts of the upcoming show, A View of Humanity. Maggie Clark was just voted and given an award for the best psychic in Phoenix, Arizona, 3 years in a row. Evidential psychic medium Maggie Clark offers powerful and accurate validations of the spiritual dimensions around us. As a spiritual teacher, Jamie shows how to integrate the natural psychic senses with the empowerment of spiritual knowledge to help create a more fulfilling life of love, happiness, and success. Jamie's avid curiosity to understand how his gifts work have led him to participating in scientific studies about the afterlife and mediumship. As a master educator in spiritual development, Jamie shares his wisdom through his podcast, Psychic Evolution, the podcast where you discover the psychic potential within and learn how to empower yourself and manifest your psychic and mediumship abilities. Maggie Clark is also an author of the children's book series, The Adventure of Rocco and Tuki, The Kids from Mars, Book 1 and 2, as well as the Psychic Evolution Training Cards, and the Jamie Isms, Philosophies and Isms of a Psychic Medium. Now, let's talk about Maggie Clark. Maggie Clark is the co-host of the Psychic Evolution podcast and a prolific spiritual coach, an accomplished healer. Maggie is committed to helping people find a way to blend their spiritual life with their everyday life for empowerment, healing, and growth. The author of 365 Days of Tarot, Inspirational Tarot for your daily life. Maggie is a gifted tarot reader and astrologer. Maggie also has a healing arts practice in energy healing modalities. Together, these two team up to show you that your psychic senses are so natural, they are supernatural. Okay, now put your hands together. Let's bring them on. Oh, yeah, there he is.
Yo, Bobby. Hey. As we're getting into this, I just want to kind of touch base to go, on average, hey, we're clapping our hands. And for most of my life, I would hear, what is the sound of one hand clapping? And I thought it was silence because, you need the other hand. And then she one day was like, all right, Jamie, well, put your hand up like this, bend your fingers, and then put it to your palm. I'm like, oh, that's freaking brilliant. That is the sound of one hand clapping, not dependent on another to have the action of itself, whether you have someone or not, another tool or not, you still get the end result. So it's just that.
You're going to drive. Everybody that's watching this video right now, I want you all to do this after me.
Yes, we are on, baby. And it's really cool because I just, a lot of the insights, a lot of the scientific aspects are validating a lot of the ancient esoteric dynamics as well. And so it's really nice that we're getting more into the practicality of spirituality, scientific studies, quantifiable information, and all that kind of stuff to go, as you shared, this ability is so natural that it's supernatural. Good, let's keep moving along. To me, everything is spiritual and life's relative. I say we're extraterrestrials to everyone else. Ooh, we are living on the other side of where we come from before here. Right. As we perceive it as death on one, you're born on the other end.
I swear to God, one of these days, the three of us have to be on stage in it together.
Mm-hmm. Let's work on something.
I only say this because, let's face it. The people that I see every day, or even people here in this community, they think I'm nuts anyway. But that's a whole another ball game. It's, we're putting smiles on people's faces that we're not there. I see these people all day. I have walked. Yeah, ask Diane. She really thinks I'm crazy. I walked up to a guy in the store. It was walking around. I saw him at one end of the store. He goes, I saw him at the other end of the store. And I'm like, what the hell? Going down this aisle in it, and this is funny though. I was going to reach for rice. Okay. They have this like brown rice. That's really, really good stuff, Ask Chi, he'll tell you about it. But
thank you.
You're welcome. The other, the other, see, you're laughing, right? Okay, I'm going for the rice, and the guy's going for the same rice I am. So I turn around to the guy and I went,
he's like, you okay? You having a stroke? What
the guy starts laughing, right? I said to the guy, I says, thank God I broke your face.
Oh, God. Beautifully put, right?
I'm serious. Here's and she's standing behind me, and she's going, "Oh, I don't know him."
But look at the connection of that from the beginning, where you may have been challenged, and we don't always know what a person's life experience has been as they stand or sit before us. But you've got enough of an energy to go, oh, I'm in a pretty good mood. I know how it feels. And you know what? I've been in that position. So you know what? Let's see if we can do something. And what's weird is the very person that was kind of feeling like they were down became the very person that grabbed the very same thing that I was grabbing. So kind of interesting, but symbolically and literally is nourishing your soul, nourishing your mind, your body. And in that connection, having the observer, in this case, Diane, to go, oh, you little, well, whatever it is, they walked away from your presence laughing and a whole different thing. And literally, breaking your face to me that's the old school. That means you just broke that old pattern, no longer the frown, turned it upside down, man.
See, that is something that you can concentrate on, in a sense. There is a pattern going on here in our world. Maggie, I bet 1 billion times you get questions of problems all the time. You don't get any questions about anything that's cool, that could be good. Like, how's about, like, for instance, like somebody turned around and say to you, oh, well, you know what? I really, really want to do this in my life. Am I ever going to get there? Somebody with some kind of an expectation of what they're going to do next or where they're going. Not the kind of things like you get that feeling from them that they're failures already, and they want you to tell them they're not a failure, when it's not really that, it doesn't work that way in a sense. The person himself has to have that person inside him that wants to jump out, and grab the world by the tail.
Right. But we can also be cheerleaders when people are down too.
Yeah.
And so, we don't ever want to undermine the fact that some people just need to hear, hey, you're worth it. It's going to be enough. You have everything you need to move forward. Sometimes just being a cheerleader can be the spark of inspiration for them to have that faith in themselves, because ultimately they do have to do the work themselves. No one's going to do the work for them. But cheerleading, it's a huge sport. You know, it's a huge sport when you are helping people or people are coming to you. Most of the time, they just want confirmation that they're on the right track. 9 times out of 10, that's really what people want, is confirmation that they can do it. And you're just like, well, why can't you? And you're just there to tell them it's okay. And you cheer them on. I mean, obviously, we offer other things in our practice besides pom poms, but you know, they are really valuable for when we want to play hard at this game of life and succeed.
And the good thing is coming to you, is knows what you want to hear, is what you need to hear. And when you can be very straightforward, hey, no mincing words. I hope it's something you like, but here's the information. And then when those things happen, that becomes a little bit more real. And in that, I see people who come back to go, well, you said that other stuff, and I thought you were full of crap, and then it all happened. Now it becomes the empowerment to go, well, if you said that, then this could possibly happen. Yep, that's the point. And if it's something there, and you know, they're asking, can I do it? I'll be like, well, you know what? You might want to incorporate this or bring this in, because they'll tend to have that end result, but they see it as someday. I'm working on it. And what the average person doesn't realize is the way that you're seeing things, the way that you're planting those seeds of consciousness, the universe is reacting. So if you keep seeing it someday and live in a reactive state of experience, meaning here's what a lot of us will do. If I have this money, then I feel abundant. If I have this job, then I feel successful. And we'll wait for that outside physical manifestation of the job, the money to happen to feel successful and abundant. When if you'll start vibing that way before it's anywhere in sight, you're now sending that vibration, planting those seeds of consciousness that are the good things and whatever we perceive. That for me, anything that I want to do and attain, I create it as if it's already been attained. I come from the energy, just for me, of how it feels to already be doing that. Because not a lot of people have the ability to feel what that's like, and I don't know. And I'm loving it because there are so many people that are waking up to their loving connections, and they're ready to start finding themselves within a relationship. But some people will come to me and go, well, unconditional love, I don't even know what that is. How am I supposed to be unconditional? Like, well, have you ever seen a newborn baby? Or have you ever seen an animal? Because I'm willing to bet you'll accept that little baby, that child, as who they are as they grow up, and not go, you should be walking. Really? Or are we aware of their potential that they can grow into, and don't try to make them? We allow them to grow into their potential. And through that, to me, it becomes the empowerment, not a pushment. So when we can have our own direction, our own connection, whatever it is, and feel that vibe, then they'll come to somebody like Maggie or myself as an energy reader. And sometimes, a lot of times, get validation that either what they perceive or what they've been thinking in different ways might have a lot more validity than what they perceive. My thing is what are these mantras and meditations manifesting in my life, or why am I doing it? I'm very practical about that.
There was something that I have here that let me see where I'm doing over here. I hate when I'm that loud. Anyway, it's what you were talking about. Love is so unconditional. Love liberates. Love is the reason why I do what I do. And so I think it is the greatest gift we have. 3 things ties your life up right there. Now, you're not saying, I love you. You're not saying anything. You're saying unconditional love is a love that liberates. It does. It really, really does. It opens your heart to the world.
And in so many different ways of loving.
It's like radar, man. If that person's standing in front of you, you got radar right next to you. I mean, it's like one of these kind of things that where your heart opens up, it beams out, it goes, give me and that's it, boom. that's the way it works out. But you see what I mean? Like, we're all smiling right now. These are the kind of things that people have to realize. Yes, we're cheerleaders. You have no idea how big a cheerleader. It's the people who are looking, not looking for something. They're looking, which is a singular of the whole word. The people, for instance, they come to me and they're there today. There'll be people that have so many troubles with so many things, and you try to whittle down which is the easiest one to try to like work your way up to try to help them with. And a lot of things are more or less in things that have happened over the last 2 years. It just, how would you say, amplifies whatever they had going on in their life previous to the last 2 years, which is like crazy. It's like putting their senses, all five of them, under the microscope and saying, how are you doing? And meanwhile, the people saying, yeah, well, I was around this guy and I got to wear a mask and I got to do this and that, and my canes, and I got to walk around the thing, and I can't walk my dog because of the thing, and I got this shield over my face. It goes, you should hear these things. I swear to God, they're like, and Diana's been with me. We went to the stores that down here, and I'm not advertising for anybody, sorry. It's called Publix. It's the biggest supermarket in Florida. And we're like 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes from the headquarters. I've been there before. I've talked to people over there. They're lovely people. I'm telling you, I would recommend the place anywhere on the planet. It's that kind of place.
Awesome.
But the people that go to it are very diverse because, for instance, right where I'm sitting right now, I could walk in less than 5 minutes to a place that there is not one house under $4 million.
Nice. Yeah, I like that.
So I mean, at $4 million, that's the fixer upper.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's like that's the kind of properties around here.
Beautiful.
However, I could drive 10 minutes in the other direction, and there's chickens and Oriental ducks walking back and forth across the street. Now I don't know whether that's dinner or whatever. I mean, that's just the place we're in. So the people that you meet in the, excuse me.
Yep. Answer it if you need to.
The people that we meet are very all over the place and what they want. So when we talk about things like unconditional love, the first thing that every single person says to me is to say, well, that's my dog and my cat and my bird. And I said, whoa, hold it, put on a brake. I like hold my head. I said, no. And they go, well, what did I say? What did I say? I said, you're on the right path. You just happen to make the wrong detour. And the woman was like, huh?
Yeah.
I said, yeah, unconditional love is a universal feeling that everyone has to be connected to and directly to yourself, your soul, your feelings for another person, your mantra, if you want to go that far.
Right.
If we come out of the gate, let's take it as a horse race. If you come out of the gate with the feeling that you are not going to hate no one, you are only going to talk good about everyone, you are going to try to be nice to everyone. That's the way you come out of the gate. I guarantee you that halfway around, if you meet anybody, you're going to be half of what you started with. Only because we're bombarded by negative energy constantly from all angles, all over the place. And then again, the things that with all this internet stuff and the cell phone things and this 5G stuff, that doesn't help too much either. I mean, it takes what's this glands that we have below our brain and actually suppresses it, because our body is also operating on a bunch of different frequencies. So because every single one of our organs has a different frequency, that frequency is screwing us up mentally. So what do? You have to work to be happy. I never had to work to be happy. I mean, when I was a kid, for crying out loud, man, we did weird things when we were kids, You go, I mean, I was a guy, you know what I mean? A bunch of us guys that would get together and catch butterflies.
Yeah, sure. Or locusts. Yeah.
If you did that today, somebody would run over you with a car.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a whole different thing. When we used to go fishing, we used to bring, I swear to God, this is the honest to God truth, and my mother is probably somewhere looking down at me saying, yeah, you did that. We would go fishing and bring home the fish, and we clean the fish. No, we were too young to know what clean fish meant. So we put soap in the water.
Oh, shoot.
We were washing,
It's clean.
washing the fish. You know what I
That's a
mean?
whistle.
Yeah, I'm serious. But I mean, you see, these are the kind of things that I anyway grew up with, and that is the way we were, and that is the way we're not now. But we can turn things back if we just have a different perceptive feeling of what is actually going on in or with ourselves.
And that's a big thing, that outer stimulation is not easy because things are
Mm.
changing on a planetary scale. Remember back in the day, someone would knock on the door and they're like, hey, they'd come together as a family. Hey, who is it? And it was friendly. Now they knock on the door, they're like, hide, get away. It's such a freaky deaky mode, man. It has been a perpetuated pattern that what we don't understand, we tend to fear. And when we tend to fear, we usually want to crucify. So a lot of us will be in that fear mode and not understanding what we're feeling or fearing. And then it becomes that interaction that we take ourselves down that rabbit hole to go, well, I should do this and I could do. It's like, really? Yeah, you can. But are you doing it? No, not at the moment. Then give yourself permission to do the best you can and keep going. And when people can see it's okay to be okay about yourself, it's not like I don't care. I do very much. But I found that if I started getting upset at myself, the very thing that I was getting upset for would freaking continue. And so I started shifting that. Instead of getting the aggression like this, I started sending it love. I
Bing.
started getting the connection.
Yes.
And the circumstance would begin to vibrate with more love, with more dynamics of the positive energy, because my own selection, I chose to come from that vibe. You do know that there's a scientist, his name is Albert Einstein. He kind of well known or something.
Oh, Al,
And
don't worry about it. I know.
Al baby. But I believe that he had written thousands of letters and he had those letters put away for many years.
Mhm.
And there was one letter that he wrote to his daughter that she was reading, I believe. And it said that we have found that love is a real energy. We do not understand it, but it orchestrates everything within the universe. This is a scientist who had the technology to obliterate life, and on the very same spectrum, found that love gives life and orchestrates everything. That's why I always say, just to me, I don't know, nothing for nobody, but that love of itself already is unconditional. The moment that you say unconditional love, you just put a condition on it.
Love is also can be felt and transmitted
Yes.
and received. I mean, not like, oh well, let me turn on my receiver now. You know, and none of that kind of stuff. I mean, it's just like you can feel. I mean, but maybe that's why I'm a little bit weird, and the other one calls me an alien. It's
Both, yeah. And
because I can feel it. I can feel people. I mean, I've actually literally walked by a person and said what the person or where the person was going. I felt it. I just,
Mhm.
it was like a sixth sense, that's in it. Everybody's got it. Anybody that tells me that I'm crazy, no, you're just as nuts as I am. You're just not listening or not feeling the whole thing.
Right.
I started doing it. I think you started it, and someone else in that I had as a host on a show way back when, and that he was the kind of person that said, "Well, if you can't feel it, then you're dead." Like, okay. I did that route once or twice, but it's like, hey. So it's one of these things that how can I explain it? Love is weird. It really, really, really is. I mean, it's something that's so not normal. When you feel it, you're moved by it. It's not. It doesn't happen to be. It's not a physical attraction. It's a spiritual attraction. And the spiritual attraction just happens to pretext the physical feeling because you really, really get the feeling in your mind first before you ever get the rest. And because of that, that's why you two are together. That's why I have mine, in the other office. And the other, I threw her out of here. Not even the dog comes in here anymore. They used to come in the studio. They don't even do that anymore.
I remember.
Yeah, no. This dog bit me in the nose in that the other night, and that was a love bite.
Right
Oh,
in
yeah,
the nose, right in front of you.
it was playing, and I was like, I was like, oh, was that good for you? Whap.
Isn't
So
that funny? out of love, that circumstance happened. Like, that's where it wasn't intentional. It was like, oh, I'm playing. I love you. And so now we see the different facets of love, and that it's all in the way that we perceive it.
You better
That's
watch
why,
out. Somebody's gonna call on the phone right now and then say, "But I'm divorced."
yeah, haven't a lot of us. But that's the dynamic is, playful is, I just come from love in my own way. But that vibe, that energy feeling is also what I constitute that personal magnetism. When you first meet someone, it's either like, man, I just love your energy, or I want to get to know you. They don't have to say a word, yet you'll feel their energy. Some have a nice, really good, clean, positive energy. Others are like, how's it possible to have a dirty, greasy energy? Yeah, but they do. So to me, I found that I need to do the best I can to understand where that person is at so that I can communicate and talk with them, not just to them. And sometimes that's all a person needs to know, is that they count. It's like, okay, you're talking with me, not just to me, and you're listening to what I have to share. I'm like, yes. And what else would you like to? And for it to be genuinely open and receptive to anything that they choose to want to share, they start to put down those guards to go, okay, I don't have to always be so guarded, at least with you, because I can feel I can light it up. I'm like, perfect. So, and then they have their own accord, realize that the strength, the empowerment of their life experience allows them to come from love and compassion. Because I always say, never mistake love and compassion for weakness. It is the complete opposite.
I just got a message from somebody about love frequencies,
Ooh,
and
yeah.
it's funny. Well, she was right. It was many years ago, right after, and it's funny too because they didn't see the picture yet of the car, of me on the car.
What a coincidence.
Back then, when I wrote songs, when we would tour all over the place, and a lot of times well, I would say maybe 3 times out of 10, we would hit colleges. And of course, colleges, I mean, at that time, people were like either so high or not. It was like, it was weird, very, very, like, hey, a piece, hey. So, I mean, it was funny because I would write songs that circled around 528.
Beautiful.
That frequency
And
is enough.
528 hertz is right, love.
Right, exactly. So if I write the song and I try to put the chorus, in that, then I was working on people's minds. And I would find that people would be, by the end of our concert or whatever we did, and then sometimes you just do it like in between somebody else's show or something. By the end of it, people would be either standing on tables or chairs.
And not throwing them
That's
at
just
you.
the way it wound
but
up. That's just
stand.
the way yeah. Well, I'm just saying, things that we can use are at our disposal. Many of us just don't. And like Maggie said, we're charity leaders, and we're also directors. We're directing people to try something. It's maybe not you, maybe it's out of the normal for you, but try it. It's just like we're on a Skype right now, and the thing is telling me it's a beta version.
Well, and I think for myself that it's important that I'm always open and I'm listening, but I'm looking at that person, whoever it is that I'm talking with, as the end result of whatever it is they're sharing. And for me, it's like, oh, I love the end result that you're talking about because you're living that. So if what you're going to share is going to get me more like that, I'm listening because I love your end result. You're living it. But I always say, if you're talking about things and you're not living your end result, I equate that like you're 800 pounds at a gym telling somebody, I'm going to tell you and show you how to look good. And the average person will be like, wow, that's a beautiful intent, but that may not quite be the end result I'm looking for. So there's that type of definitive to go, well, how are we going to be able to share and talk about love if we aren't able to even vibe with that? And then the different levels of love, because look at how you're just recalling those days back then and what you were writing. I'm willing to bet you probably had said, I love writing and singing. More than likely, I have to do it. That spoke from
No, it was
your
never.
soul.
No.
And not only that, the ability to be the presenter, to be entertaining, and allow each person who watches or hears those words the creativeness of walking away in their own reality with their own empowerment. Because look, you're doing the same thing. You're on a speaker, you're in a microphone. Just the other one, you would be standing playing an instrument, unusual. Now you're sitting playing with the controls, and all that stuff as an instrument. And you're getting the end result of people to walk away from your presence in their own way of seeing things.
Yeah. Well, it's like anything else. Then you go, well, I could be living about loving you
Beautiful.
for you. I could go on
Awesome.
forever. I mean, seriously. I mean, it's like that was my mother's fault, by the way. You can blame her next time you meet her. But
She's looking at you like,
yeah. Well, he's saying I did that. I did that. My mother was a singer, so I mean, really, where did I get it from? But there's so many things in it that are wrapped up. When you talk about love, and there's, I mean, I'm serious. I mean, I could go on myself, all by myself. I could go on for 2 hours talking about love. There are so many different parts to it,
yes.
and those parts should be, if you can remember them, should be analyzed. But
What
not
do you mean?
analyzed like I'm not. Well, I'm not going to make notes. By the way, there was a dream. I'll tell you about another time.
Cool.
Anyway, there was, if you were going to analyze something, you're not analyzing a person. You're analyzing the actions that you took, not what they took. What they took is a whole nother ballgame. If you don't like a person because of something they did, it's their problem. And it's your problem because maybe you didn't understand what they told you, which is kind of weird. Now we're getting into Psycho 1.
Well, on the empowerment that they might contribute you to the magic or you to the detriment, meaning you make me happy or you make me angry. You don't make me anything. I make myself happy or angry in response to that. And for me, it's like, well, it's the same information, but people walk away from your presence with many different ways of connection because no one's the same physically. They're not going to be the same metaphysically. And sometimes it's not always what they want to hear. It is what they need to hear. And I always say, for me, I never think anything, but I feel everything because exactly what you were sharing is for myself. If I started trying to analyze, I'm putting my way of perceiving reality as I view it and all the good, bad, happy, sad and trying to fit it. It's not about me unless they show me and my life experience. Otherwise, I am neutral. I'm just the information.
There's another thing too in it, and I think Maggie, you could probably embellish on this, make it bigger than it really is. And when I would, like in 1969, 1968, right? Oh my God, somebody years ago. But, I mean, that many years ago, there was a drummer, a girl drummer. I think I told you guys a story one time, and we were actually supposed to be, what was the name of the group? The girl and the guy. The girl was the drummer or whatever. The Carpenters.
Oh,
We were
cool.
supposed to be in their spot, but my drummer, who was a girl, she got engaged, and her fiance said, "Nope, you're not going on that trip." So we didn't. So Bob Hope and us did not see each other in Vietnam. Oops. The Carpenters did. So that's how they become the Carpenters, and we didn't. That's the way it goes. But that little drummer, she was about 4'10", maybe. I mean, weight. I mean, forget about it. I mean, if it rained and you had to put her onto something, she'd be part of the ground. She was probably the world's most greatest woman drummer that I had ever. I mean, I knew her when she had drumsticks and beat on garbage cans. That's where I know her from. So you want to talk about love. Right then and there. And at that time I was playing with a friend of mine in everybody's driveways or backyards. We were playing Beatles and strange stuff. But anyway, she graduated to drums and everything else and my first New Year's professionally that we played out, I played with her. Just two of us. The group was called Together, TWO-GETHER. That's what we called ourselves. We played all over the place. We played Canada. We played up and down the East Coast and everything. We were all over the place. But I played a 12-string guitar, and
Wow.
I could make it sound like an orchestra. And then when I did it, she sang. She was in the same choral group I was in school. So the two of us, forget about it. When we harmonized, forget about it. You couldn't slip a hair between the notes that
Beautiful.
we put together. It was that perfect, when we did it. This woman is still around. I just interviewed a few months ago, and that I did her daughter. Her daughter's a singer and plays. And as a matter of fact, mom played drums behind her in a club in New York
Wow.
City. Can you believe that? And I mean, she still plays. She still plays drums in church, of all places.
Beautiful.
And that's what I did in New Jersey. I did the first guitar mass in New Jersey. Made all the
Oh,
newspapers.
that's
Half of the
freaking
people
awesome.
in the church walked out. It wasn't an organ. It wasn't an organ. It was a guitar. Goodbye. See ya. They came back though, so it wasn't a big deal. But the thing was, you want to talk about love for people, all right? Do you know how many people's lives I touched from that time until today?
At least one or two.
3 or 4, at least. But the drummer in a way, and that has been true love, even though we've both gone our own ways. Ned and she had husbands, I had wives, the whole thing. We went different ways, but she told me that the other day that she says used to call me string bean because I was like that. You know
Oh,
what I mean?
different than you are now? You mean,
Well, I'm a little bigger now, and I gained a pound or something.
yeah,
But
exactly.
but anyway, that's what she used to call me, and she said, she says we were in love, and it's true. It wasn't the music; it was the psychic connection between the two of us. I could tell when we played. We didn't even have to look at each other to know where the other guy was going or what the other guy was going to do or so where he was going to sing or what note he was going to hit. We didn't have to do any of that. It was you could have blindfolded both of us and we could have done a whole night playing without either one of us even seeing each other.
Look what you're doing, Bob. You're just recalling this experience, yet you're vibing with the love, with the connection, all of those energies just by thinking about it.
But
That's a
it's not
huge.
what I'm saying is it's not when you were directing toward love. That feeling is in every single person walking around. They just don't know it.
Right. What does it take to bring it to the surface of consciousness?
The cheerleader.
The cheerleader. And also, you said so many things that reference the natural world, whether it was 528 hertz frequencies, whether it was catching butterflies and fish, like all of this has a connection to nature. And when we are in the natural world, that's why so often we tune into our animals and be like, our animals teach us unconditional love because they are much more aware of this natural world around them because that's pretty much their life. Like we go to bed when it's dark and we wake up when it's light and they get on this rhythm, but it's a natural world rhythm. That's what we're missing also in our culture now. It's because we're strayed so far away from a natural world. We are on computers all the time or
Yep.
watching electronic devices all the time. We don't sit still in nature and just breathe. And it's those moments of stillness, those moments of beauty, that love just is this river, this torrent that you can just tap in. It can flow on through you because everything in nature responds so eloquently to love. And it's like a musical instrument just being played by love all the time if we just tune into it. I do think love is a natural force, a natural energy that flows through us when we are just open and receptive and allow ourselves to process it. And I think the natural world tunes us into that force and that frequency to the point where we get so despondent and so out of our own, if we're looking at a computer screen all day, or if we're looking at or playing on a game or just watching TV, or, if we're too bombarded with things that are just coming at us, even 5G, right? All these things are not natural.
Mm-mm.
And yet here they are bombarding us. That takes us out of the vibration that love can offer. And so I know Jamie always says, tune into a certain channel. And I think this is something that we can help school ourselves to do, is tune into the love channel, whether we do it through just connecting with nature, the natural world, or if we just remind ourselves that it's a force, it's an energy that if we open, if we allow, and if we feel worthy enough, because sometimes our own self-worth issues might get in the way. And I'm just going to use that as one example that we see 1,000 million times in our practices. But other than that, when you just allow yourself and you know that you're worth it, you deserve to feel good, you can allow that flow to happen. And I think when we're connected to the natural world a little bit more, consciously, we might have that vibration surface more, and we might allow ourselves to feel it more as well.
I'm going to give you one. I'm going to give you one, Jamie. I'm going to give you one. This is like we're talking about my history a little bit. Let me give you a little prose thing. I actually found it in my emails. I don't even believe I even kept this thing. But geez, this is what you got. This is what you got to say. I want to take your hand and walk you through my dreams, just to show you, just to prove that what I live for is you and me. You're all I need. I love you with all my heart and soul. You are and will always be the only one, the only one for me.
Beautiful.
Excellent stuff. I swear to God, man. Maybe I should send it off to what's his, the card company.
Yeah, huh? Funny,
But
but those.
yeah, this is the feeling that but the reason why I looked it up in the first place was I'm going to print this out and bring this to work and put it on the wall. This is something that everybody should think about everybody else. It doesn't have to be two of the same sex that are married to each other or anything else, and that are transitions or any of this kind of stuff. This is something that's universal. Love is universal. One person having feelings, being connected to another person is universal. We have to learn it. We knew it at one time. Come on, when I was a kid, I mean, I could write this stuff till I could sit down for hours and write like that. But I mean, that's just the way it was. Your mind is more open, like Maggie said about the animals, and that being unconditional love. They don't have to pay Capital One or Discover or American Express, or they don't have a mortgage, or they don't have to pay their car insurance, or they don't have to worry about the guy in it that's going down the street that's going to hit you, T-bone your car in that when it goes through a stop sign or anything else. They don't have that. Animals think of one thing: you and food. That's the other thing they think of. At least mine does, anyway. And the treats. But these things we do that when we're humans too, I guess. But anyway, the treats. But what I mean by this is, we all still have it. Still, we feel love, but we don't know what to do with it anymore. That's where the directions have to be. Cheerleader that's part one. Part two is the actual direction, to be able to sit down with somebody and tell them, this is what you have. Now let's make it bigger, better.
I feel that we need to learn how to love ourselves first.
Mm-hmm.
And most people, when I give them this homework, they're like, I don't know if I can do that. That's too hard. Most people find this to be the most challenging thing on the planet, is to love themselves. They'd rather focus outside, loving another person, an animal, whatever it looks like. But self-love is really what will co-create loving relationships outside of yourself as well. It is the next key.
Jamie
And
knows what I
different.
say. Jamie, you know about what I say about the mirror all the time.
Yeah.
Go into the bathroom, look in the mirror, come about 6, maybe 8 inches, and that away from the mirror. Look into your eyes, not the face, not the look, not the wall behind it. If there's a picture there, you look in the eyes, look in the pupils of the house of the eyes, and say, "I love you." Watch. The pupils of the eyes will get bigger. All of a sudden, you
Interesting.
really, really look, because all of a sudden, all your senses in your body lets go at that point for a couple few seconds, and you can see it. Now, I'm not telling everybody to go look and say, "You see my eyes are really big." No, no, you didn't. You not what you smoked. No, 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 that has nothing to do with your eyeball. But actually go, usually in the morning, like when you get up, is a good time to do it. That because everybody goes, "Oh, well, my eyes look terrible when I get up." Don't worry about that part. Just look in the mirror, but mean it. This is not an exercise. This is real. This is really, really, really mean it. And if you actually do it and really, concentrate on those eyes, no matter what you see, it's what you feel, what you take off, what you said. The word love moves people, moves your psyche inside of you. Let's face it, Jamie, if you turn around and you said to her, "I love you."
I love you.
I love you.
See that? And yeah, I can feel it from here, and I'm not even there.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
exactly.
It's like there's a certain honesty that you can feel, not here, and not it's not like the mouths moving or anything like that. I mean, let's face it, you can look at all the really, really bad, raunchy movies and that in the world, but there's no love in there. None. But you look at some of the things that are on TV. Now, I saw a couple of movies a couple of weeks ago that the people were with or have acted together many, many, many times. And they were tenderly at one point talking to each other. And you know why? It's the first time that I saw somebody that didn't have to remember their lines. There's things that were coming out of their mouth. You could see in the thing that they were not saying lines. They weren't lines. They were real.
Feel it.
Yes. That's
Yes.
right. You could feel it. They were feeling what they were saying. That was probably the best. I mean, I kept playing the thing back and forth to see whether either I was crazy or there was something wrong with the film.
Good thing is you're questioning it. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, it's like back, forth, back, forth, back, forth. And of course, the other one in the room's going, "What are you doing?" But I mean, I'm saying, "Oh."
But you're kind of bringing up an interesting point, and that is the ability to look in the eyes as you're looking in the mirror. The eyes are the mirror of the soul kind of thing. But that also kind of ties into Dr. Masaru Emoto, who did hidden messages in water. And he was a scientist who wanted to see if the molecular structure of water holds thought patterns, thought within it. And every time he did the testing, he got the same results. He also found love and other emotions have a geometric shape to them. Literally, he had 2 different containers of water, and he had people send one container positive, loving, happy thoughts and froze it. The other one challenging bad thoughts and froze it. Each and every time he took those ice crystals up, sliced them up, and put them on an electron microscope, and they have the pictures of it. But he saw that the water container that was sent negative, challenging, and it was gross and murky. The one that sent love, light, and energy was pristine like snowflakes. You're bringing up a very interesting point to go. You're directly connecting with that container, that water container. Almost 70% water, and the brain's almost 80%. Now we're seeing the reinforcement of that love where you can heal yourself. We just look at everyone else to see our reflection, when it's really us who creates that reflection in any way that we're seeing it. Good, bad, happy, sad, it's all relative. What's good for one may not be good for the other, and vice versa. And so in finding that for myself and finding that love is unlimited, you move from narcissism to self-realization, because I found that the more love, energy, attention, and compassion I gave myself, the more I could give to others, because I could not give what I do not have. And when we get narcissistic, it tends to, well, there's only so much. Really, is there? Really? Okay, then that's fine. So we're like, here's a little bit, but I'm going to save it for me. And it's like, well, that's fine, but it's unlimited. You can have as much or as little, and you're loved just the same. I'll guarantee you there are people on top of the hill with everything and everyone, and people at the bottom, they're in a street with nothing, and everywhere in between. it becomes the law of equivalence. What you vibe will come back to you. No karma. To me, it's cause and effect, a natural law, vibrational match. And when we can get that loving connection, notice how you might feel a little bit better or a little bit more positive after that time of looking in the mirror. And all you're doing is, oh, you're communicating with yourself. Oh, so that's what, right.
I'll give
Prayer
you
is
I'll
not
give
your,
you one that I'll give you one that make you laugh.
Cool.
There's so many things that we do. There's a couple of, well, you were talking about the water. I'll tell you about the water in a sec. But this is good. But you talk about the things that make people, the love in it and the way it makes them feel and everything else. I told somebody one time, I said, look, when you go to sleep, when you go to bed, if you have trouble sleeping and things, think of all the people that you loved, have loved, could have loved, might have loved, the whole 9 yards. And I said, but take them one at a time. Think about them, where you went, what you did, where you went, where you ate, did you go bowling? And that take it one at a time. See how many things you can remember that you love about the person you're thinking of. One thing after another thing after another thing. Well, here's the funny part. There's one guy. He's big. I mean, he's a big boy. He's got to be about 300 and some odd pounds, and he's a little shorter than me. I'm almost 6'1". He's like not quite 6 foot. And he says, "Can I think about Burger King?" I was dying.
man.
He loves Burger King. I said, look, if that makes you feel good and that makes you feel full, go to bed and think about Burger King.
Look, same end result, going to sleep with a full soul or full stomach in this way. What was the love connection for him? Hey, so now we can see love has no limit. You can love this or love that. It is unconditional. That's the beauty.
And out of all those things, no matter how you want to look at it, the word love, the feeling of love, the imaging of love filled everyone's souls and let them come down and let them, that was better than a drug to make you go to sleep. And we all have it. Yeah. We can all do it. I mean, seriously, let's face it. You two can go to bed and think about whatever you did yesterday and everything, and you'll go to sleep. No matter what, unless you did something yesterday that goes, oh, I want to do that again.
Well, that's a lot.
I'm serious. I'm serious. It's one of these things that like you can control, or you are in control of your mind, and your mind is in control of the world around you.
Or you begin to empower yourself through your own mind and see how you can create a new world around you.
Perfect.
By seeing it in a new way. Yeah. Really cool. And notice in this connection, the beauty is it can be anything. What? And notice just before you go to sleep because you're having trouble. Really? So now we're going into the sleep state with the love vibe. And more than likely, there might be some people who have dreams in a very positive experience way. But notice that one love connected to the person has so many different facets of love and positive energy connected to that person. Yet it's just one target of the person's love that you love about them. Yet you can put all of these, and I love the bowling, and we love this, and it was great conversation. And it's the same person, yet you see how much love has been there the whole time that some of us may not quite realize until we either graduate life or we have an experience to go, oh, I didn't see it that way. I've heard that crap 1,000 times, but click, that's the first time okay, I'm going to try it. And I'm like, please do, and let me know how it goes. They usually come back going, that stuff worked. I'm like, great, see how you can manifest it? What else you want to manifest? Because, once it's real and you manifested, there is no limit. You now know it's real. Not hope and believe, knowing. That's the key. To me.
Well, look at the new science that's going on right now. You can actually have your consciousness recorded. And then...
Oh, really? And so how are they recording?
Got me. And then put into... They did it with rats. They took the consciousness of one rat that was dying and put it in another rat. The rat they put it into didn't know any of the tricks or anything else the other rat did. None of them. I mean, this was a new, dumb rat that they put this thing into. Well, this rat now does everything the other rat did.
What if that would be the encompassment of that unification of God or the universe or, whatever?
I still think, I'm serious. I mean, if anybody, like, we were joking about it over the weekend. And I said, if anybody ever tried that on me, I said, I'd probably kill myself when I got to the other side. Because I said, no, you can't have any part of me because me is only one of me anywhere on this planet. So I said, too bad. Ain't going to happen.
There's only one you everywhere. That's the point.
Well, that's true. See, in all 5 or 6 dimensions.
And more.
In front of us and behind us.
And more. But look at that connection. As you're sharing that loving vibe and thinking of the other person, look at what you're receiving. The loving vibe and the reflect. I just needed to see it that way. Kind of like looking in the mirror. You see it that way, you'll feel it that way. And then walk away from your own presence more empowered, more loved, and more connected. And the good thing is I found that is self-realization, not narcissism, because I needed to do the best I can to be able to help myself. Otherwise, I would say, hi, I'm Jamie. I'm no longer a hypocrite. As much as I'm a service to others, I keep myself included because I will always help others in any and every way. But I also make sure that I now include myself because I don't I can help everyone else but myself. So I'd always keep helping everyone else but myself. And then when I was like, well, wait a minute, if I'm helping others, I'd better be willing to help myself. Click. Once I started doing that and get the bennies of it, it went for more power, more passion, and living, not just existing.
And what do she's been playing with those cards over there. I can see it in her eyes, man. She's got something up her sleeve.
She's talented, yeah.
I actually, I think with a pen in my hand, so I write down keywords, key phrases that stick out. So I'm actually just, I was thinking of all the different ways to entrain love, because some people do find it intimidating to learn how to love themselves. Like some people won't look in the mirror and say, I love you. And so
maybe they're just ugly. I don't know.
Well, and that's okay too. I mean, that's what unconditional means. If you're ugly, you still have to love yourself, and that is unconditional. But some other tricks and tips that I was just kind of writing down was in order to radiate love, in order to feel love, you can assign a color to it. I've always thought that pink was the color of unconditional love. And so in that pink vibe, if you wanted to raise your vibration, you could wear a pink shirt, or you could just think and vibrate with the color of pink, or surround your aura with its type of energy field. So there's lots of tricks to help raise that vibration, to tap into love and call it forth as a force to flow into your energy field. You could carry a rose quartz. You could put your hand to your heart and say, I love you. You could just express some compassion to people. There's so many ways to get into the love vibe that we don't think of doing every day that can literally, these are just little techniques that can help transform and open you to just that force, that vibration that's just waiting to flow through you. So that's what I was doing. I was writing down little words.
Yeah, she's awesome with that.
You know what I was going to say that while you were doing that, because a lot of people know too, and that, like I do it, and Jamie knows it for years and years and years. I mean, I walk the dog at like 3:00 in the morning or 3:30 in the morning, and I'm outside, and it's like, no, whenever I get into bed, bam, I'm up, 100%, I'm up. There's no halfway anything. I'm like, bing, like you turn on a switch.
Right.
Oop, Bob's alive.
I woke up this morning. That's a good thing.
Yeah, right. Switch down, dead. But it's like when I go out with the dog. God forbid I ever lost a live dog, breathing dog. I mean, could you imagine me outside with one of those little stuffed animals walking down the street, blowing the air?
Just do the invisible one.
Invisibilization.
They had arrested me 2 seconds. But I mean, see that's the time. That's the time of the day, and that when all the stuff goes through your mind. That if you do love yourself and you do know that you're going to give everyone everything you got in that day, you're going to promising yourself. It's a promise thing. What I do is I promise myself I'm going to do whatever I'm going to do. And when I do that, no matter what happens, and the world could fall apart, but I would still do what I said I was going to do when I took that walk in the morning. It always works for some reason. If there was a God like 444, I'm still hitting it every day. Somewhere, someday, between the time I get up and the time I go to sleep, there's a 444 someplace.
Don't you find it interesting that those numbers can mean things? I
I
always say,
know.
have you ever question why these scientists who make these major discoveries do it in numbers and letters? Really? Equals MC squared. How the flagnog what? So this is a holographic universe to me. And so it's those energies that you send out that will come back to you. Unconditional. It's just a vibrational match.
Bingo.
To me, no karma, just a cause and effect. Because, for that karma thing, I'm like, well, if there's karma, how are you supposed to know when a karmic debt is paid? Right. Just to me. So it's that cause and effect that what you think about, you're planting seeds of consciousness that will grow in your life experience. I always say that those who talk about lack are living it. Those who talk about abundance are living it, and you don't see successful people going around saying they're a failure. No luck, no coincidence, precision on the universe's part.
So we can all love and focus on love, and then we can learn how to receive it.
And just be it.
Well, how about, all right, let me leave something on everybody's minds. Physical mind, physical love, okay, is an extension of everything around you, all the energy around you connected to another person.
And within you. Yep.
We are connected mentally all the time. Physically is a whole nother ball game. They can say whatever they want to about physical love, but I can tell you from my heart that it's a whole nother plateau in
But
our life.
look, the different levels of love. Exactly. It's anything or nothing. Depends on what you want it to be.
Right. A totally different place. You can, at that time, you can almost read the other person's mind, which is really cool because we used to do that all the time. We actually knew what each other was going to say, going to talk about, going to whatever. And after it, forget about it. I mean, it was like for an hour after it, you could blurb out whatever they were thinking before it came out of their mouth.
And not judgment. It's on the same channel. Like,
yes.
Okay, you get me, instead of, oh, great. It's beautiful. And I can just be me, and yet you vibe with what I'm really feeling. Okay. And I think that that's a beautiful aspect, is when you can accept people for who they are, whatever way that is, that they feel like, okay, so I don't have to change to be appreciated. I want to change in my own way because I choose to, not because I'm being made to. And I find that to me is a very big empowerment when people can choose to come from whatever level of love that they have. Because there are circumstances where your love for either a person or a beautiful animal, that sometimes at that beautiful animal's end of life experience, they might be in so much pain or so much of the dynamic that through the love that you have for that beautiful child, as I call it, you might possibly want to help them or assist them to graduate life, to get out of the pain, out of the challenges. And yet taking a life is actually about love. Isn't it weird? But it has all of the energies around it and within it and beyond it.
Well, they said it on the TV the other day that life is energy. And when they said that, I almost fell out of my chair. It was like, you mean to tell me somebody actually said that on TV? God, and we've been saying that for how many years?
Right. Well, exactly.
Before you.
Yeah.
With kinetic hi-fi for times. I said the same thing all the time. And that during my shows and that whenever I could, anywhere. Energy is forever. You are forever.
Oh, so that might be another constant in the universe besides change. Energy can either be created nor destroyed, which is, that's beautiful.
Good stuff.
Yeah, I say I got a raise from the universe. I no longer just give my 2 cents worth, I give my 6 cents worth. Bada boom! Ow!
They say I'm crazy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
Takes one to know one, man. It's all about the love, brother.
It's all about the love.
It's going to be till the next time.
Yes.
When we do this next time, I tell you something, man, we got to get their phones going, because there's so many people out there that want to talk to us. There really, really is. And as I said, there's going to be a podcast that's going to be coming up, and I'm going to invite people. I'm going to do it on Zoom. Going to do it for free. Going to do it for 40 minutes. And if you don't come in 40 minutes, too bad. It's going to be one of those.
The opportunity. Give them the love.
Yep. Meanwhile, back and forth, if you didn't call 609-663-0153, it's your loss, not ours. On the other hand, yes, it was our loss. Why? Because you did not call in. You could have called in, but you didn't call in. Next week, the week after next, we're going to have these two back again. When these people come back, I want your call to 609-663-0153 to Pyramid One Network. God bless y'all. Bob Charles. And by the way, I was just reminded, it's V-Day very, very soon. Valentine's Day is coming up on the 14th. Be good to somebody. I don't care who it is, whether it's the guy, your boss, the guy next door, anybody. It doesn't matter. Just be good. God bless y'all. Bob Charles.